Good evening, folks. So let's have a little conversation tonight, okay? Now, to me, there's just a lot of stuff out there that doesn't ring so true. And I know some people follow, I can barely remember her name, Rachel Anna Marie Demita. But, you know, she's a little bit clickbaity too. And I find her annoying. So I actually don't watch her all that much. But now we're floating out there that Dave Portnoy wants to be the new commissioner of the WNBA, and he's also floating this notion of $100 million alternate league with Caitlyn Clark. Okay, look it. Let me just say something about Dave Portnoy, who I actually do know some stuff about. Dave Portnoy should not ever be considered for the commissioner's position in the WNBA. As irritating and as much as Kathy Engelbert pisses me off, Dave Portnoy is not the answer. Okay, Dave Portnoy should not be running a women's sports league. All right, end of story. Right there. Okay. I don't care if he's a Caitlyn Clark fan or not. I'm talking about the sport of women's basketball now, not who's a Caitlyn Clark fan. Okay. I'm talking about someone who's a serious person for that role, and that's not Dave Portnoy. Okay, he's an egomaniac and a guy who loves to have his face in the freaking news all the time. Okay, that's number one. All right, that league would be about him, not about women's sports. Okay, number two. I don't care if he's a Caitlyn Clark fan or not. Caitlyn Clark would not look at an alternate league walking away from the WNBA and going to play for Dave Portnoy. That can't even be considered a serious conversation. Okay. There's one league for Caitlyn Clark. Okay. Like it or not, Caitlyn Clark has money. Okay. She came out of the college scene with endorsements and contracts. Okay. She was already well on her way. I've said this before. She already had a nonprofit before she even graduated college. Okay. Caitlyn Clark will be set. Okay. She doesn't need Dave Portnoy. So all of this very unserious conversation is just filler, okay, for the off season. So let's just push that crap out of the way. All right. Now, one of the projections out there though is, and this is, the way we have to look at things, okay? This is the way teams have to look at things. Um, the Indiana Fever has said that their priority is signing Kelsey Mitchell. Okay. And I'm fully on board with that. And so is Caitlyn Clark. All right. But both Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham, she's another one, uh, who say that they are not stupid and they will look at the free agent market. Okay. They will test the waters. There's absolutely no question about it. So it's going to be a question of, you know, who's going to go after them and how much the Fever is willing to go to keep either one or both of those players. So that's always a possibility when you have unrestricted free agents. Okay, that's just the way it goes. And so the Fever have to be thinking about other things, other opportunities, other possible pairings that would go with Caitlyn Clark, because the Indiana Fever is going to build their team around Caitlyn Clark. And apparently, one of these players that they are looking at or that has been projected, um, I believe it was by Sporting News, as a possibility to be available where the Indiana Fever get to pick this time around is a woman named Yarden Gazon, who uh, is a sharpshooting guard. Okay, she was originally in Indiana and she transferred to Maryland for her senior year. So we will see. I think they projected her to land at number 10. I don't know, and we'll see if she's actually there. Now they consider themselves lucky to have gotten Michaela Timpson last year, so we'll see. But they are certainly looking forward in case they lose either one or both, Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham, because those possibilities always exist, all right? Anybody who's a professional person, a professional basketball player, is certainly going to look at what they can get on the free agent market. Okay, that would be a no-brainer. Okay, um, so she is a 6'3" shooting guard. She is not a playmaking guard. So she would, fit the bill for filling in for Kelsey Mitchell should that eventuality happen. And I would prefer that it doesn't actually, because Kelsey Mitchell has been with the Fever now since day one. And her and Caitlyn Clark together on the court are just killer. They really are. So that's the rumor out there now, and I'm keeping an eye on stuff, even though the draft is several months away. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Um, Now, Amber Cox. Sorry, I needed my piece of paper because I'm going to read a quotation here, and I have to be accurate. Um, so Amber Cox has recently made a statement about Caitlyn Clark. Um, she also, first of all, talked to the media about the fact that Caitlyn Clark worked harder than anybody to get back on the court. Okay. Now, what actually happened, and this was learned, at least by me, after most of the season was over, that ankle injury that she had, that she got not because one of the assistant coaches stepped on her foot on the sidelines and caused that injury. That was one of the insanity commentaries floating around out there. She actually injured herself during rehab, but that ankle injury set her back, not in the sense of re-injuring her groin, but not allowing her to test how far along her groin injury rehab was. So, in other words, she could not get back into contact practice with the team, even though she tried. And that's actually when she gave it up. So Amber Cox defended Caitlyn Clark, um, and basically said no one worked harder than her to get back in the court. And indeed, Sophie Cunningham mentioned that she was spending 8 and 9 hours a day rehabbing. Okay. So this is what Amber Cox then said about Caitlyn Clark, and I'm quoting directly. I'm so looking forward to what next year is going to look like for her, because I think we're going to see another level, which is unbelievable to even think about. End quote. And I agree. I've been saying this. Anyone who thinks that Caitlyn Clark is at the pinnacle of her career right now can't possibly improve any more than where she already is very naive, because Caitlyn Clark is essentially still a rookie. Okay, she's a rookie coming out of her rookie season, lost most of the second season, all but 13 games to injury, and you know was planning on taking the next step in her second year. So now we have her coming back onto the court in 2026, perfectly healthy, and I know she will be there. Okay, I know she's golfing right now. I know she's on speaking tours, but Caitlyn Clark knows where her priorities lie. All right, I'm tired of the snide commentaries by some men on some of these posts about Caitlyn Clark playing golf. You know what? Shut your misogynist word holes, okay? Caitlyn Clark is perfectly capable of taking care of herself, and she's perfectly capable of knowing what she has to do to be at peak performance come the beginning of the season, all right? So Caitlyn Clark will be ready for 2026, and I think Caitlyn Clark is going to be a monster next year, okay? I really do. I think she's going to be hungry. I think she's going to be wanting to prove herself. And I think she's going to want to propel the Fever back into the playoffs and get to the finals. That's a no-brainer for me, knowing who Caitlyn Clark is and having watched her for several years now. So a couple things here now have happened, all right? I kind of found a highlight reel that I had never seen before, and I think there's some stuff in here that we haven't seen. Now, it may very well be that I have watched so much highlight reels from Caitlyn Clark that I can't delineate what I've seen and what I haven't seen. So, that's always a possibility. But before we get to that, I have kind of a funny little ditty here that I want to show you of Caitlyn Clark, and it's pretty funny. We'll get to both of them, but we're going to start with this because it's kind of short. So hang on here while I pull this up.
Me being too competitive in PE class, so that was something.
I need to get back to the beginning, so hang on a second. Don't go away. It's always a challenge with me. Always a challenge. And I want to make sure this is turned up. Okay.
But yeah, I think I want to
hear stories from your third grade teacher.
Well, I got kicked out of PE class quite a bit when I was younger. Yeah, they had to have my parents come in and have meetings about me being too competitive in PE class. So that was something. But yeah, I think
I want to hear stories from your third grade teacher.
Well, I got kicked out of PE class quite a bit when I was younger. Yeah, they had to have my parents come in and have meetings about me being too competitive in PE class. So that was something. But yeah, I think
I want to hear stories from your third grade teacher.
So there's Caitlyn Clark talking about the fact that she was too competitive in Phys Ed.
Maybe.
Okay, and actually thrown out of physical ed class when she was young because she was too competitive. I think that was pretty funny, and I think that's pretty telling about just exactly who Caitlyn Clark is. And there is actually an article out there because it's a funny thing, and I hate to keep harping on this, but she has actually said this herself, that a lot of people out there have no problem with male athletes being super competitive, okay? But, for some reason, it's a drawback for female athletes, like they're supposed to act differently. And there's actually an article out there. I'm going to try to find it, and I will put it in the body of this video that talks about the fact that Caitlyn Clark's level of competitiveness is an asset. It is not a drawback, and people should not view it as anything but an advantage. So I will put that article in here, okay? But now, here's tonight's highlight reel. I honestly have not seen this before. So we'll play a few minutes of this. This is about, let's see, it's about 8 minutes and 15 seconds long. We're going to play a few minutes of this, and then I will make sure this is, again, as always, in the body of the video for you folks to watch.
Shot clock down to 9. Here as Clark gets inside, the scoop pass. Pull back to Clark. She will launch and bury.
To Caitlyn Clark all night tonight.
Are you talking about my high school experience? Clark, cut! The Fever looking to erase. Here's Clark, catch and shoot. Hits a throw. Clark stepping back.
Clark launches, nails it.
Clark on the drive, gets to the rim. And
trying to make something happen. Behind the back. Backs the basket. And
Cheyenne Parker married in the offseason. Clark catch and shoot, hits it. Wheeler, Clark launches, hits it.
trying to find some space. Isolation here for Mitchell. Clark
on the fake. Clark weaves inside, and the
Caitlyn Clark dribbles across half court, the crowd already rising to its feet. One quick
That's this guy,
hesitation,
he's an
defender
idiot.
leans the
Just
wrong
ignore
way.
him.
Pull up from deep. Splash! That's the kind of start that sends a message. She's locked in. Next possession, the defense tries to pressure her high. Caitlyn stays patient, spins through the trap, and floats it off the glass. Good. That's balance, precision, and total confidence. All in one smooth...
Listen, before I continue on with this video, ignore this weenie, okay? I don't know where they get this. You know, it's like watching one of those television sets where the words that are coming out of people's mouths don't match up with actually with what they're saying. This is what these AI guys are like. I don't know why they just don't leave the background sound and they do this, but just tune this guy out, okay?
Smooth motion. Now, here comes the break. Caitlyn grabs the rebound herself, racing up the floor. Two defenders waiting, but she stops on a dime, fires from the logo. Boom! That's outrageous range. The crowd is losing it, and the defense looks completely helpless. They switch up the coverage now, but Caitlyn adjusts instantly. Drive, kick, swing. Corner three, money.
Of the fourth. Here is Clark turning on the Jets. Clark gets to the...
Asia Wilson and Kelsey Plum combining for 42 of Vegas's 61 points.
Currently in a playoff spot. They moved up to 8th with that win over Chicago as Clark gets inside and...
At least two of us know what's going on. Clark
knocked away by Clark. Here's Clark ahead of the field. Caitlyn Clark Clark on the hesitation.
He's showing up, showing out.
6 to shoot. Backing down. Clark leans in and banks.
Game where they're coming off of a loss against the Mystics. They want to clean some things up.
Crowd on a string at Barclays as Clark able to bank.
And it's not about your competition, who you're playing. It's about being confident in who you are.
Her balance so well around the basket.
There's Caitlyn.
Wallace gets it ahead to Clark. Clark will drive, get to the rim, lay it.
That's what separates her from everyone else. She creates the right play every time. Midway through the quarter, she's on a tear. First trip, step back jumper. Next trip, deep crossover and blow by to the rim. Then, a perfect no-look assist that threads the needle for 2. 3 plays, 3 styles, same result. Dominance. Defensively, she's just as sharp. Caitlyn reads the offense perfectly, steps into the passing lane. Steal! She takes it the other way, one defender to beat. Quick Euro step, off the glass. Count.
So, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that is like the first honest highlight reel that I've ever seen where she spends so much time taking the ball to the hoop. And it's a thing of beauty to watch her do that. You almost always see highlight videos with her passing the ball or shooting threes. And every once in a while, they throw in a drive to the hoop, but she's amazing. I mean, this is what I don't get about all the objection to her being on the, the AP all-time women's basketball, college basketball starting 5. I mean, who the hell should be in that point guard position? Nobody but Caitlyn Clark, okay? She is the total package, all right? And the commentary by some of the people underneath that video, she's not better than Stewie. Well, Stewie's a power forward. All right, it's got nothing to do with Caitlyn Clark. It's like comparing a peach to a freaking, I don't know, raisin. It's a whole different ball game. Okay, so anyway, that's what we got for tonight. I'll make sure the highlight reel will be in there. The Caitlyn Clark commentary about being thrown out of physical ed class will be in there. And I can see that happening. And most of the kids I went to school with were trying to get out of physical ed, but not Caitlyn Clark. And I will get the articles that I talked about. I will make sure that those are in this video. Now, so someone asked me when my wall was going to be done. It's not just a wall, okay? It's not a wall, okay? It's like a mini shrine, okay? It's done for now, okay? So what I'm just trying to figure out now is I'm going to film it this weekend so I can show it to you guys. but it will be an ever evolving kind of thing. Okay. And every day I go out there, I find new stuff that I want to get my hands on. So I've already got a list of things I want to get, but for right now at this moment, I am content here, okay, with what I've got. So I'm going to film it probably tomorrow. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, it will be Monday. I'm just trying to figure out which camera to use to make it so that it's filmed properly so that you guys can actually get the whole idea of the way it flows. So I will see you guys tomorrow. You have a great night tonight. Enjoy this highlight reel because I love watching Caitlyn Clark take the ball to the hoop. I really do. And I'm going to keep an eye on what's going on with the CBA, obviously. Try to get some dates together about when certain events happen. I know they can't offer anything to free agents until I believe January 1st. So people who are out there saying that there's another story out there that Caitlyn Clark has gone in and demanded that the Indiana Fever brass sign both Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull, and it's a done deal now. I'm sorry, folks. You know what? Caitlyn Clark has expressed exactly who she wants back on the team, okay? And the Fever will listen, okay? But Caitlyn Clark did not storm into Indiana Fever management and demand anything, okay? That's just, again, more clickbait. So we will see where things go. But ultimately, as I have said before, Caitlyn Clark is in charge of her own career, and Lexi Hull is in charge of her career, Kelsey Mitchell's in charge of her career, and Sophie Cunningham's in charge of her career. So it's going to have to be what they can work out together to keep players on a team, just like it is everywhere else in the WNBA. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow for sure. And I'll be looking for more highlight reels, and hopefully I'll be able to get my little shrine filmed. You guys have a great night.